One of the questions that everybody seems to have is, why do we experience so much conflict in our relationships? And my way of thinking about that is not, why is there so much conflict in our relationships? I think the other. I'm just impressed that there isn't a whole lot more. And the reason is, if you understand what the Bible teaches about sin, you immediately understand why we have so much conflict. In 2 Corinthians 5:15, Paul says that Jesus came so that those who live would no longer live for themselves. What Paul is saying is that the DNA of sin is selfishness. Sin inserts me in the center of my world. Sin makes me reduce the field of my concern down to my wants, my needs, my feelings. Sin makes me a little self-sovereign. Sin makes it all about me. So what that means is that sin, in its fundamental form, is antisocial. I was meant to live an upward and an outward life. Upward in loving worship toward God, outward in self-sacrifice and love to neighbor. Sin turns me in on myself and makes me so self-obsessed, so self-focused, that I have little time, actually, to love another person. And there's a third thing. If the DNA of sin is selfishness, and if sin is antisocial in its fundamental form, then that means that sin will cause me to dehumanize the people in my life. What does that mean? It means they quit being objects of my affection, they become vehicles or obstacles. If they help me get what I want, I love them. I'm thankful they're in my life. Cards and flowers, occasional chocolate. But if they stand in the way of what I want, I'm spontaneously angry and irritated. I mean, think for yourself of how little of your anger in the last month had anything to do whatsoever to do with the kingdom of God. You're not angry because God's law is broken. You're not angry because God has been displeased. You're angry because somebody had the audacity to get in the way of something you want, something you think is a need, something you feel. Well, if you see that, you will not find a greater argument for the need of our being rescued by God's grace than the conflict that we have. It's right there in James 4. James asks that question, why are there so many fights and quarrels? He doesn't answer because of those creepy people that you live with. His answer is, don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You want something, but you can't get it. There it is.